We started by simply introducing Liberty Principles Online, and I want to start to build on what he already knows. Good. Starting to shape from back to front. Good, that's a nice stretch. Good. Now this tool that I have has a very soft tassel on the end, and I noticed that when I reached, this was sort of a little diagnostic thing, that he got quite, he was irritated by that, and I barely touched him, and that may be due to his stomach things, or it may be that he's a bit side sensitive. I'm suspecting that it's probably a combination of both, and also that he is not that educated to the leg. And so this is a great way to test and also re-educate. Good. And it's really nice. I use this tassel end whip because a lot of whips have kind of scratchy ends on them. And so I'm starting to ask him to just displace his rib cage a little bit out when he stiffens it against the bend, and he does tend to do that. So we've got some now association cue. Good, nice. Where it's not enough that he just stretches down, but there has to be some bend there laterally as well. So if we don't have longitudinal flexibility, good, and lateral flexibility simultaneously, you can't have one without the other and have everything working. They are interdependent on each other. Now I stopped him there because he was showing me that through his communication that it was getting to be too much circling to the left, and he had done some good rib cage release there, so I wanted to let him know that I acknowledge that and let him just rest a bit, and then we can go back to the other direction, which are basically where my bending aids were. And so right at that point, this is why this is important communication. Good. He grabbed the rope after not doing that for several revolutions. And I just want to point out the little signs that horses give that the exercise is getting, more stressful to them or taxing. And so that was the first time I saw him grab the line, and he did the same thing the other direction. And so I said, oh, that's probably time to stop. So with that, I'm building rapport with my horse, and he's learning that he can trust me to hear his communications, which is really, really important because his body and mind are in my hands as a human, and I have to really, really let him know that I'm very much paying attention to those communications. And also, as we move through the rehab process of his work, it's important for me to learn where his thresholds are, because thoroughbreds especially tend to be able to push through pain and discomfort, run on fractures. In racing, they do it all the time, where they are racing on broken limbs, on sore hooves, with tendon injuries. So they're one of the breeds that's very easy for them to work. They will push themselves out of body. And I'm very much wanting to encourage my horses to actually say, yeah, that hurts, or that's too much, or I don't want to do that. So that's really important when you're doing rehab work, especially, and just general training. Horses get jammed and crammed all the time in the name of training and suppleness that actually creates more problems than it fixes. So I'm going to actually leave that exercise at that. And he told me that it was enough. Good. And you have